Hello, and welcome to episode 37 of the Mindful Knitter podcast. My name is Claire, and I am your host. I'm coming to you from the southeast of the United States, and this is primarily a podcast where we talk about yarn, knitting, crochet, sometimes some spinning, and some weaving, but basically everything yarny we talk about here. Today I've got some finished objects to share with you guys, as well as some works in progress and some upcoming projects that I'm going to be casting on soon. It is primarily knitting today. I don't know if I have any crochet projects to share with you all. I'm trying to glance around to see. I think it's all knitting today, so that's fun. If you are new, welcome. I'm so glad that you're taking the time to hang out with me for a bit today. And if you're coming back, welcome back. I am always really happy to chat with you guys and to connect with you on Ravelry and Instagram and to hang out with you here on YouTube. So if you want to connect, you can find me on social media, on Instagram as the.mindfulknitter and on Ravelry as Mindful Knitter Pod. And if you need to email me about anything like collaborations or questions or anything, you can email me at clairethemindfulknitter@gmail.com. All of that information and all the information that we cover in the video today, like dyers, designers, etc., will all be in the show notes down below the video. So if you click on the little like more button, or it's just a word that says more, but you can tell it's kind of like a link, it'll drop down to the description below the video, and you can find all the information that I cover in there. So if you want to know the name of a yarn or a designer or anything like that, a pattern, it's in the description down below the video. And if I don't cover something, then you are definitely welcome to ask me, and I will answer any questions that you guys might have. So for today, I'm kind of looking around because I set things up a little differently. So if I'm looking a little disjointed, then that is why. I don't normally have my stuff set up like this, and it's kind of throwing me off a little bit. And I've also got my notes over to the side on my laptop because I left my tablet at my office. So that's not very helpful to me. But I do have my notes here so that I can kind of keep track of what we're doing. So first we'll start with some finished objects. The first of the finished objects that we're going to start with today is this baby kimono cardigan that I knit for my niece. She is due in like a week or two. Yeah, she should be born very shortly. It's just any moment now. So this is the little cardigan that I knit for her. I'm going to show it to you first without the buttons because I have not sewn the buttons on, even though I told you guys I was going to before this episode. I didn't. Irresponsibility abounds. But I have a little finished cardigan to show you, and it's really cute. So this adorable little cardigan is by Elizabeth Jarvis, and it's called the Baby Kimono. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and I knit the size 2. It's knit from cuff to cuff, so it's knit kind of sideways with the little like flappy panels. Kind of one of them's knit on it and the other one's kind of grafted. Is it grafted or no? I think you put the live stitches on hold and then you just connect it as you're doing the other panel, or as you're moving to the other side of the cardigan. So good design, I think. It was very intuitive, easy to follow, and here are the 2 little buttons. I'm going to attempt to do this, but it's not going to be great. These are the 2 little buttons that I'm going to sew on. Oh gosh, this isn't working. Okay, but it's these little yellow guys. So 2 little yellow buttons. I've dropped the other one now. There's no yellow in the cardigan, but I liked these little yellow buttons. I thought they were cute. Yeah, I think they look really cute with the fabric. So I'm going to get this sewn on before I gift this to my brother and my sister-in-law and little baby Naomi. But the buttons still aren't on it for now. But you've seen it now, and it's probably the last time that I will show that because it's going to be gifted to them in the next week or 2, and it's going to be on a baby. Maybe not immediately, because I feel like this is a little big for a newborn, but hopefully she'll get some good use out of it this winter. So that's the Baby Kimono by Elizabeth Jarvis. I did do the size 2. And I have the information about the yarn and all of that kind of thing in the description down below. So giving you guys an update on that guy. Next finished object. I have a number of finished objects, as usual, to share with you guys. So I didn't do the Stephen West Mystery Knit Along this year. Instead, I hosted my own kind of very casual make-along that we just sort of ended up calling the Spectator MCal, or the Spectator Mal, because there was knitting and crochet, and people could have done like spinning and other things too, but we had knitting and we had crochet, and it was mostly people doing Stephen West patterns, but there were a few other patterns as well. And we just spectated the MCal this year, and we watched everybody's beautiful shawls, and we watched Stephen's videos, and just generally kind of like supported him, and got to enjoy like the fun and excitement in the spirit of MCal season. But we did not, any of us, knit the MCal shawl, the Geo Gradient shawl for this year, because we just didn't really want to commit to a giant mystery project this year. We all just kind of felt like participating adjacently and enjoying it, but knitting something that we already knew what it was going to look like, and we knew it was something we were going to use, or we were planning on gifting it to somebody else, or etc. So it was a lot of fun. We were all really active in the chat on Instagram. We had like a private chat group set up, and it was just so much fun, and we might do it again next year. Of course, if anybody was knitting the Geo Gradient shawl, they were certainly welcome to join us, but we didn't have anybody actually knitting the Geo Gradient in our group. It was just us knitting other patterns, mostly by Stephen West. I decided to knit the Dotted Rays shawl by Stephen West, and I did it in a kind of a gradient. This is a fade kit by Emma's Yarns. This is one of her theme packs. It is the Sweetheart theme pack, and I do have the label with me to make sure that I don't mess up. You know, I grabbed the label, but I don't have it, of course. But it is the Sweetheart theme pack, so I know I'm not messing that up. And I think that it turned out beautifully. It starts up here with all of these kind of like rapid dots, they're eyelets that make the dots, and then they get more spaced out as you go, and it creates this wonderful asymmetrical kind of swoopy shawl. I did a size that was sort of in between his small and his large size. I continued for I think 2 or 3 repeats. 2 or 3 repeats past where he has you stop and move to the border if you're doing the small version of the pattern. The large version of the pattern has like a really cool border. I just wanted the really simple I-cord border. So I just continued with some more repeats until I ran out of this yarn, this color. And then I moved on to this beautiful burgundy. And I wanted to have like a little bit of that in here before I did the I-cord. But when I got to like this end, I only had like the I-cord board, like one row and the I-cord, so that this was like a nice clean kind of edge, which I love. So I love that that final dark burgundy color is like a little whiter. It's whiter on this end, and then it gets really narrow for all of this portion. And I just love these dots. I love the shawl. It's a great size and it's a really good shape. I find that I don't really have to adjust it much at all when I'm wearing it. I do tend to wear my shawls kind of scarf style. I'm cold all of the time, so I'm typically wearing a shawl or a cowl or a scarf or something. So I get a lot of use out of the ones that I make, and yeah, I wear them kind of like this. To work, out, sometimes around the house because I'm cold. So I love this. It just kind of like lays nicely. Sometimes I'll kind of like skew it this way a bit, and it stays put, and I don't really have to mess with it, which is great. And I think that part of that is because it does have that kind of like natural curve, so it kind of wants to sit along the curve of the neck. So this was a delight to knit. It was very chill. It was not a stressful pattern at all to follow. Once you kind of get the repeats going, you can just read your knitting and just kind of continue on. One trick that I did do is, so like you're kind of like the increases are done by doing short rows and these really big eyelets. So to do the short rows, I just used one stitch marker and I just moved it every single time to kind of keep track. So I didn't have to keep counting, which really helped me a lot. So if you're gonna knit this pattern, then maybe use like one stitch marker that you just move every single time you're doing the short row, and that kept it very, very easy to follow and not stressful at all. Here's a little closer up of the colors so you can see the beautiful colors. Emma's yarn is just one of my very favorites. I love her dye style, and I love her color combinations and the way that she plays with color. So gorgeous. It is a fingering weight shawl, and it's all garter and eyelets with the I-cord edge, and it's just a beauty to behold, I think. And I loved this gradient. I had it for over a year, and I was just waiting for the perfect project for it, and this was the perfect project. So I've already worn it a few times. I'll probably end up wearing it again today because I'm going to dinner tonight, and I think this will be really cute to wear to dinner. And it's really cold here. It's in like the 30s and 40s right now, so time for bundling up. It decided to finally become autumn where I live. So I don't think I have anything else to say. I knit it to pattern other than doing those few more repeats, just so I could really use up my whole Emma's Yarn theme pack, because I wanted to use all of these colors. And this was my little like gradient shawl by Stephen West that I did while I was watching everybody do his Geo Gradient shawl this year, and it was so much fun. I think that's all I have to say about it. So let's see. Oh, my notes disappeared. Since it's on my laptop, it likes to time out and then I have to sign back in. So we've got that. I did too, I think that I showed my Harvest cardigan to you guys last podcast. It wasn't last week, it was a few weeks ago. It's the Harvest cardigan by Tin Can Knits. I did a cropped version and I added buttons. It is finished as far as the knitting, but it is currently blocking and does not have the buttons on it yet. Common theme. But the reason I don't have it is because it's still blocking, and since it's a worsted weight cardigan, I just started blocking it yesterday and it's still not dry, so I just really don't want to move it around unless it's totally dry, because with almost, it's like 4.5 skeins of worsted weight yarn wet, that's kind of heavy, and I don't want to mess up the stitches or anything, so I'm just gonna leave it where it is until it is dry, and I'll show it to you guys next time. I'll probably wear it next time, but I am really happy with how it turned out, and I already know what I'm going to do for the next one, because I am going to be knitting another one. The next one is going to be a beautiful seafoam green, and it's going to be mohair and fingering weight singles held double, and it's going to be glorious. So I'm really excited about that. But I'll show you guys my cardigan next time. Let's see, next for finished objects, I think the only other finished objects that I have for you today are for Alex. So his birthday is coming up. I don't like to give specifics about our birthdays, but it's coming up. It is this time of year. So I have knit him 3 things for his birthday this year, and I have also purchased a couple of things for him to go along with it. But here are the things that I knit for him. Firstly, I did knit him a new pair of socks because it's been a while since I knit him some socks, and I really like these a lot. I'm also very curious to see what these will be like on him. I really like the fabric, but I think that I knit these differently than I normally would. It's been a while since I knit him some Patons Kroy boot socks, so, and I didn't take good notes. So I could not remember what needle size I used or how many stitches I cast on or any of that. So I just kind of guessed. I took his favorite pair of socks, the ones he said that were the best fitting, and I counted how many stitches around it was in circumference. And it is 60 stitches for his Patons Kroy socks. And I knew that I either did a 1.5, a US 1.5 or a US 2, and I couldn't remember. So I was like, I'm just gonna do 2 because Patons Kroy is, I think it's like a heavy sport. It is not quite DK, but it's like a heavy sport. So I was thinking casting on 60 stitches and then using like a US 2 DPN should give me a pretty good sock fabric. And I actually do really, really like the fabric. It feels sturdy and it still feels like sturdy, but it's definitely not as dense as his other Patons Kroy socks I've knit him. So I'm pretty sure I did those on a 1.5. Could I have swatched before I did these to make sure? Yes, I could have, but I didn't. So they're gonna be a surprise as to how they fit. But I think they're a little drapier than his other socks, and I don't know, I really like them, and I think they're gonna be really comfortable and they're gonna work really well inside of his boots. So I'm happy with these. These actually kind of had a fun story too, in that I knit these while I was in New Mexico during the annular eclipse that happened. I was actually in Albuquerque, which is right where in the zone where you can see the ring of fire for the eclipse. So I did get to see that. It was amazing. I'm actually going to put together all of the footage from that trip to do like a little knitting vlog for you all, but I have not edited that yet, so it'll be put up on the channel soon though. But I didn't realize I was knitting these while I was there at the eclipse, and this colorway by Patons Kroy is called Eclipse Stripes. So what are the odds? But I love this colorway. I think that this is a very classy stripe, and I think that he's gonna like them. And they're right in time for his annual fishing trip up to New York, as he goes salmon fishing in New York every year. And I think it'll be good for him to have some new wool socks to wear while he's up there. The second thing that I knit for him, I'm also hoping he'll get some good use of while he's there. This is not done blocking yet. It's still wet, so I'm gonna be a little careful while showing you. You can like see through the fabric. It's definitely still wet. I think this will puff up a little bit more after it's dry. This is so goofy. Yeah, I think it should fluff up a little bit more when it's dry, but it is still very wet. But this is the Bandana Cowl by Purl Soho. And of course my notes went away again. Here we go. I want to say, yeah, Purl Soho. And it calls for an Aran weight yarn, but I didn't have an Aran weight yarn. And I actually, let's see if I'll fold it so you can see this yarn a little better. This is very pretty. It's this beautiful tonal gray, and I know I have this ball band because I did make sure to throw this ball band in here. Oh, where is it? I have a lot of ball bands in here that I don't need. Where's the one that I do? Oh, good grief. Okay, this is kind of silly. I'm going to take 2 more seconds to look, and then I'm going to come back to you. Well, I do know I threw the ball band in there, but I can't find it, which is really frustrating to me, actually, because, yeah, I wanted to talk about this yarn, and I don't have the ball band. I mean, I do, I just don't know It's in here. How does this happen? Surely this happens to other podcasters too. I can't be the only one where like I prepare, but then when it gets to the actual like filming time, it's like all of my preparations just go out the window. Fortunately, I do have this yarn in another color and it's just right here. So I'm gonna grab that so I can reference it because I really want to talk to you about this yarn because this is a really cool yarn. Sorry for getting so close to the camera. This is by Yarrow Yarn Company, which is super cute label. Look how cute this is. So cute. And the yarn is their Yak DK. So this is 60% superwash merino, 20% yak, and 20% silk. It's 231 yards and 100 grams. And this is the color I got for me. I got one skein for me and one skein for him, and I want to do a bandana cowl for me in this color, which is this beautiful, beautiful, like muted mauve kind of color. Yeah, gorgeous. It's muted because of that yak, and it's kind of silky because of both the silk and the yak. And I was really excited to finally knit his bandana cowl in his color for this, since I don't have the ball band. I can't tell you the colorway name, but it will be in the description down below the video. If you're interested in this color, this is Horsefall or Horsefall. I can't really make it out. The shop is temporarily on vacation on Etsy. I got these quite a while ago, I think last winter, but I'm excited to knit my bandana cowl, and I really like his. So all I did was, since this called for Aran weight yarn, I held the DK double, and it worked really, really well. I just did less rows on the top part. It's kind of like a bottom up pattern. This is a free pattern on Etsy. Or not Etsy, on Ravelry. So it starts from the bottom and you work your way up from there. It's got short rows. I did German short rows, but it also has instructions for the wrap and turn if you prefer that. And then on the back portion here, I just I did fewer decreases, and this is also shorter because I didn't have the yardage that I needed. And then I also used a different yarn for the bind off, but I think it's okay because it coordinates nicely. So I'm really happy with this. I also didn't decrease as much because Alex is a bigger human being, and I just really didn't want this to be too narrow for him, and as I was knitting it, it looked a little on the narrow side, so I just really wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to be too narrow and it was going to be comfortable for him. But I really enjoyed this. I actually started it and finished it in the same day. It went by quick. It's a great size, and this design is just very, very clever. So this is my first time knitting a bandana cowl, and I am excited to knit a second one for me. Trying to think if there's anything else. I love that little point on it. Nothing else I think to mention about this. I hope it keeps him cozy while he is fishing in New York. And then the last thing that I made him for his birthday this year is I've been knitting gnomes lately. If you watched the last podcast episode, then you saw Newt. Newt is right here. Hello, Newt. So Newt is my little gnome. Alex requested a gnome too, which I was more than happy to make for him. But he really loves dwarves, and he's currently playing, it's a PC game, and it's based on Lord of the Rings. It's the Mines of Moria, and you're a dwarf and you're mining in the Mines of Moria, and apparently like you can sing dwarf songs with other players, and it's full of all kinds of like lore. The songs are actually based on Tolkien's songs in the books, so At least that's my understanding. So really cool game, and he's really liking it, and he likes dwarves just in general. He's got some dwarven stuff from the Lord of the Rings movies in his office. So I modified his gnome and made him into a little dwarf. And I think he's really cute. So this pattern is by Imagine Landscapes. It is No Fun Like Gnome Fun, and both no and gnome are spelled G-N. So No Fun Like Gnome Fun. And all I did was add this little beard or this little mustache to him. I also modified it by doing a different colored bauble for the nose. The way the pattern's written, the nose is knit with the beard, so it's the same color, but I just swapped in another colored yarn so that I could knit him a different colored nose, because I really wanted his mustache to really like pop. For the mustache, I just took several strands of the yarn, put it through a tapestry needle, shoved it through the back of his nose, which sounds really bad when I'm describing it, but he doesn't know, he's made out of yarn. And then I braided it and then clipped little ends on either side. So that's how I got his little braided mustache, and I just think he's extremely cute. I held yarn double because this is a worsted weight pattern. Yeah, look at his little arms. So cute. And then there's the little bottom with the decreases. Yeah, super cute pattern. There you can make multiple gnomes from the same pattern, multiple sizes. You can do this size. There's a little girl gnome that I don't think has arms, and then like a teeny tiny gnome that you can make earrings out of, or like a tiny ornament or what have you. And it's just a fabulous pattern. And I love my little dwarf gnome, or rather Alex's little dwarf gnome. So I think that he'll like him a lot. I'm really excited about him. I'm wondering what he'll name him. It'd be really fun if he named him Gimli, because it starts with a G, and it goes along with the whole like G thing. But he could name him a normally like an N name like Norbert, but it's spelled with a G. That'd be cute too. So those are Alex's gifts this year for his birthday. I'm just throwing things. I want to keep them all in the same spot so that I don't lose track of them before I give them to him. I think those are all of my finished objects, at least that I have to share with you all for today. I do have other finished objects, like I said, my cardigan, but I don't have it with me. Let's see. Kimono, socks, bandana cowl, cardigan, dotted rays. Okay, so next up we've got, sorry if you heard that, something just fell. I'll pick that up in a moment because I'm going to show it to you guys in a moment. So I've only got one whip to share with you guys. This is the only active whip that I have right now. I have a few on hold at the moment. The top that I'm wearing, if you noticed before, this is a knit top. This is the double take tee by, it's either Purl Soho or Espace Tricot. I want to say it's Espace Tricot though. I think it's Espace Tricot. It's 2 skeins of fingering weight to knit the size medium, and then I modified, I did like the large size sleeves just so that they'd be nice and roomy, and then I did it cropped so that I didn't have to worry about running out of yarn. I used exactly 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn for this. It's great, and I wear it very often, and I do have a second one right now on the needles, but it's on pause just because it's my sort of like on the go knitting. It's not a project that I'm like actively working on, especially this time of year. I'm not going to be wearing it as much because it is short sleeve and fingering weight, and it's starting to get colder. So I anticipate I probably won't really wear it much until the spring. So it's definitely not at the top of my list right now. And I have other projects that are more of a priority. So it's kind of on pause, and it's just one that I take around with me, like to the doctor's office or things like that, because it's very portable. It's kind of like carrying socks around to work on. But I do have another one technically that's a work in progress And then I have another whip for Alex, the Moby sweater by Petite Knit, but that's a very, very long-term project, and I have other priorities for my knitting at the moment, and my crochet and my yarn dyeing and all of that. So it's also sort of a little bit on pause. I got to the part where I have to start doing the cables, and I don't like cables, so here we are. So my only active whip at the moment, but I will have more active whips probably the next day or two, because I'm going to cast on some stuff. But this is a bandana. I'm not using a pattern really. I just sort of got inspiration by looking at several patterns on Ravelry and then sort of making up my own, because I figured it's a triangle. It's a triangle, so I can knit a triangle. And I'm doing an I-cord edge because I like I-cord edges. I think they look very neat. Yeah, I couldn't find a pattern I wanted, I couldn't find a pattern that was exactly what I wanted, so I just sort of yeah, referenced a few and then made up my own kind of thing. But it's nothing complicated. It's a triangle with I-cord edging. So I'm knitting a DK weight bandana, and I'm using a size 7, US 7 DP, not DPNs, US 7 needle. That's a 4.5 millimeter. And the absolutely gorgeous yarn that I'm using is Wandering Flock. This is Beach Party. I do have this ball band. I wish I had the other ball band, but here we are. Yeah, so this is Wandering Flock. This is 100% superwash extra fine merino. It's 100 grams of DK, and it is 320 yards or 230 yards or 210 meters. The colorway is Beach Party, which I think is her favorite, the yarn dyer behind Wandering Flock. I think that Beach Party is her favorite colorway out of all of her colorways. I don't know how well that's showing up, so let's see. Whoa, that's really bright. There we go. Okay, see if that shows up a little better. Oh, I don't know if that really did anything. I don't really know if it did anything. We'll just, I kind of liked the natural light episode, but it did seem a little dark in here, so I've gone back to turning on the giant fluorescent lights that are on the ceiling, which are not my favorite, but we work with what we have. Yeah, so I like the I-cord edge. It is curling, but it's going to curl, especially right now while I'm knitting it. It's curling a lot. So I'm getting close to halfway through this ball or this cake, and I'm just going to go until I'm about halfway and then do a couple rows and then decrease. And that'll be my triangle. I'm just going to use all of it up, and it'll be a wonderful little DK weight bandana. I've had this yarn for a few months, and I've just had it on my crafting table sitting next to me while I work in the living room, and I've just been staring at it for months, just enjoying its existence. And probably about a month ago, I decided I wanted to knit a bandana out of it, but I just now got to where I have the time to do that. So I think this is going to be great. I think it's going to be very cozy, very wearable, I'm hoping. I'm hoping that it'll block out nicely, and I'll get some nice length on the edge so that I can tie it bandana style. But the wrong side's lovely too, so yeah. I really love this yarn. This colorway is magnificent. The yarn's super soft, and I'm just enjoying every single stitch of this because the colorway is just so beautiful. Yeah, really beautiful. This might be all I knit on for the next day or two before I cast on my next project, just because I'm enjoying it so much. Next thing to show you guys is needle adjacent. So I've got 2 projects that I'm going to be casting on. This I might cast on, probably won't have time today, but tomorrow, I think that I'll be able to cast this on. And I'm actually gonna grab my laptop so I can show you on Ravelry. So this pattern, I think, came out last year. It's the Simply Scrappy Cowl by Helen Stewart. So, so cute. Yeah, so, so cute. Let me show you guys a bigger picture of it. Sorry if you can hear my dogs barking. I think Alex just drove up the driveway and now they're barking at him. So this is the Simply Scrappy Cowl by Helen Stewart. And it just uses fingering weight scraps or an advent calendar. And it's got this simple eyelet. It's a very deep cowl. You can see her holding it up here. Of course, you just do as many repeats as you want. It doesn't have to be that deep, but she's done a very deep version of it, and I like that. And it calls for, I think, about 100 grams. Yeah, so 460 yards of fingering weight yarn, and it calls for a US 6 needle or a 4mm needle. So I have some scraps left over from my Advent yarn calendar from 2021. I did the Emma's Yarns like silky Advent calendar. It was so much fun. That's the only Advent yarn calendar I've ever done, and it was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed it. Getting to open it up every day. You can see me open it up every day in Vlogmas of 2021. Those episodes are up on the channel if you're curious. But I've got all of these little scraps left from it because each mini was a 20-gram mini. And I knit a gigantic shawl, really more of a wrap. It's a wrap style shawl. And yeah, I still have all of these scraps. And it's a silk merino blend, and it's just a gorgeous yarn. And these colors are so happy. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold them double with some Suri silk. I've just got some white Suri silk here. There's a seller on Etsy. There are a lot of sellers on Etsy that just have undyed Suri silk that you can get. And I'm just gonna hold them double, but I'm still gonna use the US 6 so that I get a little denser fabric than she has. Yeah, and I'm gonna knit the Simply Scrappy Cowl with my little leftovers from my Advent minis. And it's gonna be beautiful and fluffy and soft and really colorful and cheerful. And I'm really excited to start this. I had considered doing it for December and just doing one row every day in December since I've already got 25 minis here, but I kind of want to just do it now. So I'm just gonna do it now. Why wait? So that is going to be started this weekend, I think, because I'm just kind of knitting some things that bring me joy at the moment. I have some like gift crafting that I need to do, and then some crochet for a holiday market coming up, as well as some yarn dyeing. And I'm going to be selling some hand spun yarn too, so I'm going to be doing some spinning for that. So I'm doing a lot of like businessy crafting, which I'm enjoying. But then as far as like the stuff that I'm making for me, I'm just kind of doing whatever is bringing me joy at the moment. So this is bringing me joy at the moment. To look at this package. Okay, so story time. You may have seen, if you follow me on Instagram, that I went to the ER a week or two ago, and it was the silliest thing. It's not necessarily silly, like it can be really serious, and you know, I went to the ER for a reason, so, but it feels very silly. So I was eating pasta at home, and Alex made me laugh, and I inhaled some of the pasta. Normally that's not a huge problem. But when the food gets stuck in your, not esophagus, your trachea, I think your trachea, I'm getting them mixed up right now, but basically it got stuck. And I tried all of the things you're supposed to do when you inhale a food item to try to get it out. I didn't need to be Heimlicked because I could still breathe, but it wasn't super easy to breathe. So, and it was like a flat pasta, so it had like gotten stuck to like the tissue, in my airway. So I tried everything that I could do for like 2 or 3 hours, like all of like the coughing that you're supposed to do. Like there are different techniques to try to unlodge something that is stuck. Nothing was working. And it was starting to get really irritated and breathing was starting to get a little harder. So I went to the ER, because when things like that happen, sometimes they have to go in and they have to remove the item. Like if you can't remove it, sometimes they have to remove it manually because you don't want it to stay there and then create an infection, and then you develop aspiration pneumonia. There's a lot of stuff that can kind of go wrong. So I went to the ER because I inhaled pasta, which just feels so stupid to me. But I know that it happens. You know, people have probably had this happen before. I hope it has not happened to you. But it can be serious. So I went. I felt silly the whole time. I knitted on my daughter Ray's while I was there. And that helped me. And everything ended up being fine. We were able to remove it. It looked like I might be developing a little bit of the aspiration pneumonia a day or two after that, because my lungs were really bothered and breathing was still kind of hard, etc., etc., etc. But I didn't have to end up doing antibiotics or anything. It all did clear up after a few days on its own. It was just all very irritated, but I didn't end up developing an infection or anything. So all ended up being fine. And the foreign body was removed from my body. But this package arrived that day, and I got it as I was going to the ER, and I opened it in the car in the ER in the parking lot, and it brought me so much joy. Look at this beautiful, beautiful package. What a wonderful you're going to the ER present. This was just so good, and I left it all in its packaging so that I could show it to you all. But I'm gonna take it out now because I've been really wanting to open it. The only reason I left it in here is because I wanted to leave it all nicely, neatly packaged to show to you. I'm sorry that there will be some crinkling. Crinkle, 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 crinkle. Okay. The crinkling should mostly be done now. Oh, this feels really nice and fluffy. Okay. So this is by Remy's Rovings and Yarn. They are on Etsy. They had a big sale the other day, and so I placed a relatively large order. I got 6 skeins of boucle from them. This is the Lavender Dove colorway. It's 100% superwash merino boucle. It's a DK weight, and it is 240 yards and 100 grams. It says hand dyed with love by Arlene, and she is in Canada. So I've got 4 skeins of this beautiful boucle in the Lavender Dove, and she's got a cute little poodle stitch marker on each of them, which is so cute. Or a little progress keeper. I've got candy in here and stickers. I'm really curious about like what this big colorful thing is. It's a keychain. How cute is that? I've got some little, like, what do you call this? Easter egg grass? I think that's what you call that. That's cute. So we've got this little like pom-pom keychain. It's really cute. Maybe I'll put that on a project bag. It'd be kind of cute on a project bag. And I love pink and yellow, so that actually works pretty well. And there's some mint green in there too, and I love mint green. So that's actually those are good colors for me. Yeah, so we've got that. She also threw in, these look like little scissors. Let's see. Yeah, so little scissors. How cute. Little snippy things. It looks like you close this and then you pull that down. Yeah, and then they stay shut like that. So always nice to have some extra scissors for project bags. And there's a lot of candy in here and little stickers and things. So I am going to be casting on with these 4 skeins of the boucle. I should have let's see if I can pull it up on Ravelry. I'm going to be casting on a sweater with these. See if I can. I should have pulled it up beforehand. I apologize for my delay. Okay. I'm not able to find the sweater, but I'll put it in the description down below the video. It is a yoked sweater, and it used to be a free pattern. I actually did get the pattern back when it was free, and it is now a paid-for pattern. But it's a very just kind of classic, clean cut, kind of yoked sweater with like very slightly blousey sleeves that have a rapid decrease at the cuffs. So you've just got like a little bit of poof right here. It's a beautiful design, and I think it's going to look really great with this really fun boucle. I do not have any boucle garments, so I'm excited to try that. Oh, that's going to be so much fun. Oh, here's another goodie that she included. It is a tapestry needle. Oh, a row counter. That's handy. And then some little progress keepers, the little like safety pin style. Yeah, super cute. She just threw in all kinds of goodies with this order. So sweet. This was a really, her timing could not have been better in when this package was delivered, because I was feeling pretty annoyed about the whole going to the ER for aspirating situation. And this just brought me so much joy. It made me feel a whole lot better. It's like when you go to the doctor as a kid and they give you a lollipop, but this was better than that. She also threw in a little pin. So cute. How precious is this? I'm trying to get to the other colorway so I can show it to you, but I do have just enough yarn for that yoked sweater, and I think it's gonna be really snuggly and perfect for the fall, and even like those milder days this winter. I'm really excited about this one. And I haven't done a sweater. The last couple sweaters that I've knit have been either neutral colors, or I did a beautiful green and blue, like a really deep green and blue, or vibrant, almost jewel tones. It's a Malabrigo colorway. Indicieta was the colorway. Yeah. I was trying to make sure that was the colorway and not the base, but yeah, Indicieta was the colorway, and it's this beautiful vibrant green with some blues in it. And yeah, so I haven't done a creamy sweater with pinks and yellows and lavenders, and this is gonna be gorgeous. Like, this is gonna be so gorgeous and so much fun too. I'm really excited, and it's squishy and it's soft, and I really like working with boucle. It's a really fun texture. The other colorway that I got is, I got 2 skeins, because that's I think all she had, of this pajama party on the boucle as well. And I don't really know what I'm going to do with these, but I really like them. They are so bright. They're showing up neon on screen, and they're honestly fairly neon in person too. But they've got these awesome little speckles. Yeah. And I don't know what these are going to be, but I think they're going to be awesome. Part of me kind of wants to make some boucle mittens, because I think that would be precious and really cozy. Thinking of driving in like a cold winter morning when my steering wheel is really cold, but having my hands like wrapped up in boucle mittens, that sounds awesome. So some of this might go towards mittens. And maybe I'll make a hat to go with it, or maybe like a cowl, or maybe like an ear warmer situation. I don't know, but boucle is just so cozy. It's hard to get cozier than boucle unless it's like Suri alpaca. At least for me, like I just associate boucle with just the coziest feelings. So this might become mittens and something else. But I'm really excited about this colorway. I just think it is incredibly fun and happy. We've got another little poodle. Yeah, super excited about that. So that was my little like haul. That was really well timed with my adventure to the ER. It made me feel a whole lot better about the situation because I knew I had this waiting for me in the car, and I took it out when I got home and just stared at it while I tried to breathe. It was the most ridiculous situation. So super happy about that. Yeah, I'm very grateful to her for all of her goodies that she included. That was really sweet, and the timing was absolutely perfect. It was what I needed that day. Anything else to share with you guys? I do feel like there was something that I wanted to share. Let me reference my notes again. It keeps kicking me out, and I have to keep signing back in, which I guess is a good security feature. But we already talked about Alex's fishing trip, and I do actually try to knit him something every year when he goes to New York to fish, just so, I don't know, it's kind of a fun tradition at this point. He tends to go around his birthday time, so it works out in that way. But then also, like, I want him to be warm while he's fishing in New York in November. And then yeah, it's fun. It's and they're items that he actually like uses and enjoys. So it can be a little hard to knit for other people sometimes because you don't really always know exactly what they're gonna like and enjoy and use. So that's a really good opportunity for me to make him stuff that I know that he's actually going to use and enjoy, and get like benefit out of too. Because some of the stuff, you know, he probably could buy, but it's just not exactly the same as when it's made by hand. And we talked about the ER visit adventure. Last thing that I'll just mention for today, it's another fiber related thing. I recently went to a local alpaca farm. They're pretty new. They've only been around for about a year. But if you've been around for quite a while, then you've heard me mention alpacas before. I do have a great love for alpacas. I love all fiber animals. I love all animals. But alpacas are pretty special to me. And I am planning on having my own alpaca farm probably in the next couple of years. Oh, that reminds me too, I need to give you guys an update on the doctorate situation. But yeah, next couple of years, I'm really hoping to have my own alpaca farm. In the meantime though, I found out about this alpaca farm that just opened locally, and I went and visited them a couple weeks ago and talked to the owner, and he was super nice. You know, I met with the alpacas, and he has a lot of alpaca fiber that he's not sending to a mill to process, so he's just asking local hand spinners to spin the yarn for the fiber for him. And he gave me 2 fleeces for free. He just gave them to me, and the deal is that I just spin half of it for his shop, and then I keep the other half, which works pretty well. The 2 fleeces that I got are absolutely beautiful. One is a kind of fawn colored, so like a light caramel kind of color, absolutely beautiful. Light brown, light tan. And then the other one is actually a rose gray fleece, which is exactly what I wanted. That is my favorite color for alpacas, is that rose gray. And one of their boy alpacas does have the rose gray. He's mostly silver, but he has little patches of fawn and some little patches of white and black. And so when you take the whole fleece or the whole blanket off of the alpaca, it does translate into being like a rose gray color. Because a lot of those like tannish bits are kind of mixed throughout his gray. And it's just the most beautiful color. So I was really grateful that that fleece or that blanket was available. And so I've got 2 alpaca blankets now to process from start to finish. They sheared the alpacas, but they didn't wash them or do anything. So I'm going to be processing all of that fiber and spinning it up for their shop, and then I'll spin up the rest of it for me. And I'm really excited. And I wanted to share that with you guys, just because it's something I'm super excited about. But one of the reasons I'm excited about it, it's not just because it's alpacas, and I love alpacas, and I love alpaca fiber, and I love spinning it, I love knitting with it, and just as animals, they're really cool animals. But part of what I love about making things by hand is the way that it really kind of connects me back with, I don't know, like all of the generations of humanity that always make their own clothes because we didn't have industrialization the way that we do now for, thousands of years. And all of the materials that we got from the world around us because we didn't have things, like plastic. It just didn't exist. So I really do like being able to go to the farm, meet the farmers, meet the animals, process the fiber myself from start to finish, because it really makes me feel a whole lot more connected to something that's bigger than myself. And it makes my crafting a lot more meaningful for me. It's not just about getting to play with beautiful colors and beautiful fibers and the tactile nature and the meditative repetition, even though all of those things are beautiful and valuable, and I love all of that about the crafting life. But I like the bigger part too, where I feel more connected to my community. I feel more connected to the animals. I feel grateful to them as well, because I think of it all as a very symbiotic kind of relationship. Like we take care of these beautiful creatures and they take care of us as well with their fiber that then clothes us and keeps us warm. So yeah, it makes me feel connected to something bigger than myself. And I like the idea of being able to support local farmers and local businesses. And I want to get more into like the Shave 'em to Save 'em programs and the other kind of programs that are geared towards kind of helping with sheep breeds that are struggling or endangered even, and trying to, just help out all of those animals that are struggling because of, things like industrial farming or mass producing of textiles or etc. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I was really, really excited to connect with this local farm, and I might be doing some spinning with them beyond just the spinning their fiber for them to sell in their shop. I might do some classes with them as well. I might be teaching some spinning classes, but also some knitting and crochet classes. And I'm really excited about it. I wanted to tell somebody. I told my friends and my family, but I wanted to tell you too, because it's super exciting for me. And it's, it gets at those deeper layers of the craft life for me. So I think that's probably all that I have to share with you all for today. Trying to think if there's anything I'm forgetting at all, but I don't think that there is. So next time I will definitely share my harvest cardigan with you. I'll probably have my bandana done. I'll probably have the Scrappy Cowl done as well, if we're being honest. Because if I'm not doing something that requires my hands and my, attention, then I'm knitting or I'm crocheting. I'm doing it all of the time. So, and I tend to be fairly monogamous-ish with my crafting. So I tend to have a lot of finished objects. And I'm blessed in that I can manage my hand pain pretty well, so that doesn't really prevent me from crafting pretty much constantly. If I'm not at work or that kind of thing. Oh, that reminds me, I said I was going to do a doctorate update. So, as many of you know, I've been working on my PhD, and I'm at the end of my dissertation process. And this week I finished writing my dissertation, which was so exciting. Yes, I did buy some celebration yarn. Yeah, so I'm done writing my dissertation. Amazing. When I typed the final words of the final chapter, it didn't feel real. It still doesn't feel exactly real, but it's starting to sink in. And you know, every evening when I get home from work, I no longer have to think about, you know, how much writing am I going to get done tonight and that kind of thing. So that's really exciting. The process is not completely over. If you've done your doctorate before, then you might be familiar with this process, but the dissertation writing part is done. But I have like a dissertation committee and I have a dissertation chair. So she now has my dissertation and she's going to be reading over it and she'll send it back to me with any revisions that she has for me to do. Hopefully it's just little cleanup items. You know, it's possible she might want me to write like a little bit more about something here or there, like, you know, expound on something a little bit, but hopefully it's all stuff that I can get done pretty quickly. So that we can then set my defense date. So I'll be defending my dissertation in the next month or two, which is amazingly exciting. And after I defend it, then I'm pretty much done. There's some additional editing after you've defended your dissertation to get it ready for publication. And that's different than the editing that you do before you defend your dissertation. There are a lot of layers to this. So, yes. So I'm not like done, but like the actual writing of the dissertation is finished now, which is amazing. And then of course, you know, before I wrote the dissertation, there was also, you know, all of the literature review that I needed to do. And, you know, I designed a research study. Then I had to, you know, recruit participants to take part in my study. And then I had to collect the data. I had to analyze the data. I had to write up all my findings and etc. So there's a lot of pieces to this. And all of that's done. All those pieces are done now. The only thing that's left is some editing and some revisions and then defending it. And I really like my dissertation committee. So I know that they are, you know, they're on my team. So I'm not too worried about defending it, and I kind of like giving presentations, so defending it doesn't really worry me a whole lot. The hard stuff's done, and of course I finished all my coursework before I started my dissertation, so I'll be graduating in the spring, which is amazing, and then I'll be Dr. Claire, which is exciting. Yeah, so I wanted to share that little update with you because I know people ask me sometimes about, you know, how's school going, how is the research going and the writing, and some of you have been very, very supportive, which I appreciate so, so much. And those of you that have also done your doctorate that have just really been so encouraging and have given me, have even offered to, with your support to like read over something for me or what have you, like that's just so incredibly kind and sweet of you, and I really appreciate that. It's been a long process. Doctorates take a long time. This is one of those programs that they tell you when you go into it, it's going to take you 5 to 7 years to complete this program. So it's been a long time. I'm happy to be towards the end now. So yeah, exciting milestone, and I might have some more finished objects coming up too, because now I'm not going to be writing on my dissertation all of the time. I've got more time now. So now I've just got to go to work and, you know, take care of Great Danes and keep a house clean and stuff like that. A lot more time for yarn. Alrighty, that truly is everything for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys in the next episode. I might be posting that vlog from New Mexico before I post the next podcast. That vlog will include the Albuquerque Balloon Festival and the Eclipse, as well as 3 national parks that I went to while I was in New Mexico. Just a little bit of knitting and a local yarn shop. So I'll be getting that up on the channel as well. So I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.